Ryan Reynolds says Justin Baldoni can't sue him over hurt feelings.
Ryan, I would say, in my opinion, is plausibly the most guilty party of this entire thing.
Hollywood loves drama, but this is a full-blown blockbuster playing out in real time. Ryan Reynolds, the king of snark, the face of Deadpool, the guy who can turn any insult into a punchline, is facing something he can't just joke his.
Thesis is essentially that Ryan is actually such a good guy that he kind of had to be a bad guy.
Way out of a major scandal that has the internet in a frenzy. The headlines are brutal. Accusations of bullying, defamation, and career sabotage. A parody character in Deadpool and Wolverine that might have gone too far. And now, a lawsuit that threatens to take a wrecking ball to his squeaky clean reputation.
Mr. Reynolds was a key player in the scheme, defaming Justin around Hollywood, strong-arming WME, their agency, into dropping Justin as a client and trying to destroy Justin's career however possible.
But wait, just when you thought this was your typical Hollywood feud, Blake Lively enters the chat, flipping the entire narrative on its head with accusations of her own. One thing is clear, this is no ordinary celebrity spat. It's a war of egos, power plays, and maybe even a revenge plot so layered it could be straight out of a Ryan Murphy series. So, what exactly happened? And more importantly, whose career is about to take the bigger hit?
Yesterday, Ryan Reynolds filed a motion to dismiss. He wants to get out of Justin Baldoni's lawsuit in a filing that was riddled with character attacks and claims that he can't sue over hurt feelings.
It all started with a joke, or at least, that's how Ryan Reynolds would describe it. In Deadpool and Wolverine, Reynolds introduced a new character. Nice Pool, a painfully earnest, ultra-woke superhero who seems suspiciously familiar to anyone following Hollywood's social justice warriors. The character was a dead ringer for actor and filmmaker Justin Baldoni.
Basically, it's fine if I called him a predator if I believe it. It's fine. And the problem is, it's like, okay, so you're admitting then, essentially, that you have called him this.
Known for his advocacy around progressive masculinity and directing It Ends With Us. It wasn't subtle. In fact, it was so obvious that even Reynolds' legal team didn't bother denying the inspiration.
What's going on here? What does he say? Why is he suing them?
But here's where things get messy. Baldoni wasn't laughing. To him, this wasn't satire, it was personal. And it wasn't just the parody itself that stung. According to Baldoni, Reynolds didn't stop at mocking him on screen. Behind the scenes, he allegedly worked to destroy his career, pressuring Hollywood executives and even Baldoni's agency, WME, to cut ties with him completely.
However, his attorney Brian Friedman has given some quotes to the press, and they were pretty scathing. I mean, you gotta admit, the guy goes hard for his client. Now here Friedman is quoted in TMZ. Let's look at what he said. Mr. Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues, this time arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse.
But Brian Friedman says Reynolds trying to skate is laughable because his fingerprints have been all over the smear campaign against Justin and the Wayfarer team since day one. He adds, after lighting a match, Mr. Reynolds now seeks to run from the flames. It won't work.
That's when Baldoni decided to fight back. He filed a lawsuit against Reynolds, accusing him of defamation, character assassination, and using his Hollywood influence to blacklist him. And if you think Reynolds just rolled his eyes and let it slide, think again. His legal team hit back, fast and hard, filing a motion to dismiss the case on the grounds of free speech. Their argument? Reynolds was simply expressing his opinion, and Baldoni was just too sensitive to take a joke.
Friedman says Reynolds trying to skate is laughable because his fingerprints have been all over the smear campaign against Justin and the Wayfarer team since day one.
I want men, first of all, I want men to stop asking the question, why do women stay?
Yeah.
Right? I want men to take accountability. I want men to hold other men accountable.
But here's the twist. While the internet was still debating whether Reynolds had finally taken his sarcasm too far, Baldoni dropped a bombshell. He wasn't the only one with a grudge against Reynolds. Blake Lively, Reynolds' wife, had her own allegations against Baldoni, and let's just say they weren't about a parody character. Lively's accusations turned this already viral feud into an absolute media firestorm. He claimed that during the filming of It Ends With Us, Baldoni had been anything but the feminist ally he portrays himself to be.
No, it wasn't just the so-called. He confirms. They say they don't dispute that the character was based off of Justin Baldoni. It was essentially Justin Baldoni. And so Ryan Reynolds admits this. Reynolds, who is married to Blake Lively, was accused in the lawsuit of mocking and bullying Baldoni by using the character of Nice Pool in Deadpool and Wolverine to satirize Baldoni's woke feminist image.
All hell broke loose. She claims he sexual harassed her, and then by the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement, and Ryan Reynolds turned on him too. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her.
According to her, his on-set behavior was so concerning that by the time the film premiered, they weren't even speaking to each other. And if that wasn't messy enough, she also accused him of launching a calculated smear campaign against her, using his PR team to spread damaging rumors about her after the movie's release. In short, she flipped the script entirely, painting Baldoni not as the victim, but as the aggressor.
She's brought the suit, and he's got to defend himself. And there's some very serious allegations being made against him and Wayfarer for harassment.
It was Ryan who had called this shot, that it was very obvious now that we know his brand of narcissism. I feel like we all deserve PhDs in psychology by the end of this. 100% Ryan was the one who put this line in here. Not SNL, not Tina Fey, not Blake Lively, but Ryan. They are pulling quotations from a 2017 article as the opening to everything.
And of course, Reynolds wasted no time in defending his wife. But here's the thing. Was he standing up for Lively? Or was this a strategic power move to weaken Baldoni's lawsuit against him? At this point, the internet was divided. Team Reynolds argued that this was just another case of cancel culture overreacting to harmless satire. After all, Reynolds has built his career on sharp humor and pushing boundaries. Wasn't that the entire point of Deadpool? Others, however, weren't buying it. To them, this was a classic case of Hollywood's elite using their power to silence those who challenge them.
Mr. Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues. This time, arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement, extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse.
Hollywood power couple Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and actor and director Justin Baldoni. The plot of this lawsuit is actually more interesting, I believe, than the film that they made.
Ryan, I would say, in my opinion, is plausibly the most guilty party of this entire thing, okay? He has just been publicly humiliating Justin Baldoni.
Baldoni, despite his success, isn't on Reynolds' level when it comes to influence. Having your name mocked in a blockbuster superhero movie, that's not just a joke. It's an attack that could seriously damage a reputation. And let's be real, Reynolds knew exactly what he was doing when he created Nice Pool. Then there's the even bigger question, why did Lively choose now to speak out?
He has just been publicly humiliating Justin Baldoni as soon as he could, as many times as he could, and using as many A-list actors as he could. The reason why the character is successful, it's actually him. And what better way to become successful than really just playing yourself?
You're telling me you creating this character in this Disney Marvel superhero movie where you mock him, threaten him, tease him, make fun of him, and then ultimately kill him?
Was she genuinely fed up with Baldoni and his alleged actions? Or was this a well-timed move to shift the focus off Reynolds and onto his accuser? Hollywood isn't exactly known for its pure intentions, and the timing of it all was just a little too perfect for some people. Regardless of which side you're on, one thing is clear. This feud is only getting uglier, and both Reynolds and Baldoni have a lot to lose. Meanwhile, Reynolds' brand is already showing signs of strain. His entire persona relies on being the charming, lovable rogue who can do no wrong.
It's just a joke. You don't get it? You're thin-skinned if you're upset about it. That is how insane this are real, and they are serious. Mr. Reynolds can appear on as many sketch shows as he wants and feebly try to make light of his current situation. But we will not stop until he is held accountable for his actions.
I felt like it was very aggressive, I agree, and I can't fault somebody for wanting to stick up for their partner, but there were parts of it as I was reading it, I couldn't help but feel like it was a bit petty.
All hell broke loose. She claims he sexual harassed her, and then by the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement, and Ryan Reynolds turned on him too. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her.
But now, the same biting humor that made him famous is being weaponized against him with critics, calling it less playful and more mean-spirited. Some fans have even started digging up old interviews, resurfacing past comments that don't exactly paint him in the best light. And if history has taught us anything, it's that when the internet turns on you, it turns fast. As for Baldoni, his career is also on shaky ground. His entire public image is built around being an advocate for progressive masculinity. But if Lively's claims gain traction, that could all come crashing down. If there's one thing Hollywood loves more than a redemption arc, it's a fall from grace. And if audiences start questioning Baldoni's authenticity, that could be just as damaging as anything Reynolds has said about him. So, what happens next? Right now, all eyes are on Reynolds' motion to dismiss Baldoni's lawsuit. If it goes through, it could mean the end of Baldoni's case, but not necessarily the end of the public backlash. And let's not forget the court of public opinion, because in the age of social media, sometimes the real verdict isn't decided in an actual courtroom, but in the comments section. But let's be honest, this is Hollywood, the land of reinvention, PR cleanups, and image makeovers. No matter how messy this feud gets, both men have the resources to bounce back. The real question is, which one will come out on top? And which one will end up as the punchline in someone else's joke? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. So buckle up, because in the world of Hollywood scandals, the plot twists never stop coming. Let me know if you want this spicier, more dramatic, or with a different angle.